9 minutes, 30 seconds. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing at Suki. If you've been looking at the press today, we made a big announcement around our strategy in telehealth. And we'll discuss that, but I think let me kind of give you a little bit of context to the company and what we're actually working on. In my opinion, there are basically three major epochs in the tech era: printing press, electricity, internet. There was a pre-internet and a post-internet era, and everything changed when the internet actually, became the dominant force of technology. There is going to be an AI epoch, and I think this is probably like the 50th AI presentation you've seen today. So, in line with that, I just wanted to say that there's a pre-AI era in healthcare, and there's a post-AI era in healthcare. And the post-AI era will have completely different ways in which doctors and patients interact, completely different ways in which they use technology. Everything that we know about how technology is completely different. And that brings me to effectively our reason for being, Suki's reason for being. Suki, its vision is to make healthcare tech assistive and invisible so that clinicians can focus on what matters, what they love, which is taking care of patients. Now, healthcare tech assistive and invisible is a really broad mandate. And if you look around, if you're walking around, I think every fourth booth is basically talking about ambient clinical documentation. Everybody is listening to conversations and creating notes out of it. Suki is not an ambient clinical documentation application. It's an assistant to the clinician. It can do a lot of different things. Ambient clinical documentation is one of those. It can do coding. It can do dictation. It can answer your questions. All of these things are basically a part of making healthcare tech assistive and invisible. And so if you look at our assistant, doctor can walk in and say, okay, well, what's my schedule like? Give me a sense of who am I meeting? Give me a summary of the patient I'm talking to. Suki, pay attention. It'll actually automatically create a clinical note out of it. It'll extract codes out of it, put it in the right place so your revenue cycle management systems work. It can gather data. It can do medical calculators. It can assess. It can plan. All of these things is what the Suki Assistant is about. It can be used across all clinical settings. We work in 300 plus health systems in this country right now. Across EHR footprint, we are probably one of the largest in the market today. We work in ambulatory settings. We work in inpatient settings, telehealth, and which we will talk about a bit, skilled nursing. We work across all platforms, iOS, Android, web, Chrome, Windows, Mac. We work across all form factors, all settings, and all kind of health systems, big or small, rural, urban. That's the kind of thing you need if you want to really democratize access to AI in the market. But what I really want to talk about here, which hopefully will get into your articles, is the platform that powers this Suki Assistant, the Suki Platform. Basically is going to be offered to a lot of other companies who can use it to actually build AI experiences of their own. So the assistant can work with EHRs and be in health systems across the country. The platform, the leading clinical communications companies in the market are actually using that to build the next generation of what that clinical comms should look like. Telehealth, which we will talk about in a minute. EHRs, if you have EHRs, they can come and take 6 lines of code and in 4 to 6 weeks have an AI assistant embedded into it. And then of course, medical devices. Philips is a good example of that. So imagine this world where you're walking in and you basically go to a health system and you have an assistant helping the doctor write notes, code, do all of these other things. Then a nurse walks in and has a badge. They tap on it and it's actually powered by Suki. Then after that, you walk over to the telehealth setup and actually the telehealth encounter, as you're talking to the patient, automatically the notes written and things are happening powered by Suki. And then you walk over to a small clinic which has in EHR, and within that EHR you have the same Suki assistant. This horizontal accessibility of the assistant and AI capabilities to the entire breadth of healthcare is how you make healthcare tech assistive and invisible. Not by just building an assistant, but actually allowing others to actually build assistants of their own. And in that way, we have decided, or we're happy to announce that we have a really big partnership today that we have actually announcing, which is around Zoom. Zoom is about 40% of US telehealth. Zoom globally is 140,000 healthcare institutions. In our opinion, the future of an AI-first world is not just speech and voice and ambient voice, but it's also video and how people will actually interact with this. Companies like Zoom become the center point of this AI-first world, where you can actually navigate, talk to different people through the interface, talk to your patient, and then pick up the Zoom app and walk into a room and actually use it in an in-person setting too. We are very happy to announce that we have a strategic partnership with Zoom, where Suki is going to be powering the AI experiences within the Zoom interface, starting with clinical documentation, and it will be broadly rolled out to all of Zoom's users. So that's the big announcement. If you take the telehealth setup, you take the EHR setup, you take clinical communications, you take Suki Assistant for enterprises, for healthcare, large groups across Epic, Cerner, Medtech, Athena. In our opinion, Suki is well on its way on being the AI engine of healthcare. So that's the big news. Thank you for your time. I'm glad many of you have come up front, and hopefully this was entertaining.